Welcome to the apex of sports ownership, the Apex Athletic Collective.
Welcome in everyone to episode 54 of Instigate Success, Building an ABA Franchise. I am your host as always, Jake Schoen, aka Jakey Muffins, and we are on episode 54. So already past that 50 mark, we had that special 50 mark episode, and we're past that now, on our way to 100. So I think we've been at this for about a year now. So that's pretty cool. We got some news for the instigators. Some of it is repeat news. Some of it is new news. Either way, we're in the off season, but we are starting to ramp up toward the regular season. So we will cover some of the stuff we've been going through on the off season, and a little bit of what we can look forward to in the upcoming season. We were part of that Super Cup championship a couple of weeks back. If you didn't remember that, we did play BBB in the championship game. The Woodpeckers were the number 1 seed from the regular season on the Gold Cup, and then the number 2 seed was BBB. The Woodpeckers, while undefeated in the regular season, they wound up falling in their first postseason game in that Gold Cup bracket against the basketball team. The basketball team actually had to play their way in, and they had a pretty impressive run. They wound up making it to the semifinals before falling to BBB. BBB, though, was the one team, was one of the 2 teams that was able to knock off the Hoosier State Instigators when it came to Gold Cup play. And they had the largest margin of victory out of any team when it came to games between the Instigators and any of the opposition. The Woodpeckers were the only other team to win against the Instigators, a 1-point victory there, but BBB did have a double-digit victory against the Instigators, so a little bit of a revenge game in a way. Being the professional team, the Instigators had that clear path to the Super Cup championship, and once they had the opportunity in that championship, they showed everybody exactly what they are capable of doing. And you see there that final score 126-105. And that was our first time for the Hoosier State Instigators with any kind of championship. So, that's a pretty cool accomplishment. Definitely something we're going to continue to talk about. And, something we'll always have to look back at as our first step in our path of hopefully many championships. But that was a very fun opportunity to be a part of the IBL Gold Cup with their Pro-Am tournament there. And, great partnership that we've had continuing with the IBL. And hopefully we continue to build upon that in the future. But we had a nice opportunity to get an extended look at some of the players. We had that tryout, I think, a few months back at this point now, and we had a good turnout to that, and we had some guys we wanted to get the extended looks at. So we had a couple that we invited to that roster for the Gold Cup and continue to build and see how they fit with some of our returning players. And that was, our roster for the Gold Cup was a mix of returning players and a mix of new players that we saw from some of our tryouts that we wanted to get a further look at. And we did wind up signing a few of those guys. I know we announced for Kevin Cameron. I think he was the first new guy that we announced, aka Stunna Boy. He was a great addition. He really improved even just in that Gold Cup play. You can tell that he's continuing to improve, and he's going to be a nice piece, I think, to the team. Especially, he seems to be kind of like a spark plug type player. Like you plug him in, and he's just always full of energy, and kind of gets like a momentum swing going with the team. So I think that's going to be a key factor for the team this season in the ABA. The other player we announced was Lance Styles. Lance came in, he played, I think he missed a couple of the games, but he did play a pretty important role with the Instigators throughout the Gold Cup play as well, both on the offensive and defensive side. We saw him hit, a number of threes, so he's definitely a good shooter as well. But we got those guys, and then we had a couple of guys that we've already announced, returning players for the Instigators. Um, you know, uh, so we've got that roster continuing to build. But anyways, we had that Gold Cup and the Super Cup championship, and that's how we continued to get that extended look at some of these guys, see if how they fit. Whether or not that's going to be a good fit or if we can continue to improve and potentially offer more players spots. And again, remember, we only have, I think it's 12 roster spots when it comes to the regular season. We have that 13th spot reserved for celebrity player for the home games, but that limits us. There's not a ton of opportunity. You know, when you look at that for 12 players, we already had a good number of players that were at least getting a second chance, second look, second chance with the Instigators in that Gold Cup. And we had that tryout this past weekend, which we'll be jumping into shortly. But again, the 126-105, first championship ever in Hoosier State Instigators history, and hopefully we can defend their Super Cup champion in next season. And here is a picture of the guys that were a part of that championship team. And you see there they got the banner, they got trophies. And shout out again to Mike Pugh. He was named the Minotaur Streaming MVP. Minotaur Streaming, if you didn't catch it, they did an amazing job streaming that game live. Highly recommend catching their YouTube video. You can go and rewatch that, and especially their call on Mike's three-quarter court, almost full court, underhanded one-hand shot, and that was to end the third quarter. Really like a Sports Center top 10 type play. But Mike, not only on that play, he really had himself a good game when it came to that Super Cup championship, and definitely earned that MVP when it came to that game. Um, and not just Mike, but everybody, chipped in throughout not only this game, but the whole Super Cup, the whole Gold Cup and Super Cup. So it was great to see the team continue to grow. And you could tell from that first week, we had 2 losses in that first week to winning the championship. Just definitely a huge continuing improvement when it comes to team chemistry, starting to learn how the players, know each other's moves. And then obviously the addition of Coach Dobbs. The last, I think, 3 weeks, we wound up having Coach Dobbs there as the coach for the Instigators. And you can see the different kind of defensive schemes. I think that's really going to be a key factor when it comes into the ABA season. I know we've mentioned this in the past, but last season we pretty much ran just man-to-man defense. But in the Gold Cup and Super Cup, we were experimenting with zone defenses and a lot more pressing, like before the half court. And those are pretty important things, I think, that are going to be beneficial to the team when it comes to ABA play. I'm a fan of the pressing. I think it's not something you want to do every time, obviously, because you leave a potential for cherry picking a big play down court. But if you can trap the ball handlers in the ABA, that's very important because of the 3D rule. So you trap them behind the midcourt. If you can get that turnover, not only are you getting your basket or potential at a basket, but a potential at an additional point every time you're able to do that. So I think with the ABA rules, that's really important. And then obviously to have the ability to switch between the man to zone defense, that helps schematically depending on our opponents. Sometimes we're going to have matchups against guys like I'm going to throw out the Kings as an example with Cameron Mitchell, he averaged like 50 points a game. So he's maybe a guy that you have to have multiple people helping cover that type of player. But definitely really looking forward to continuing this momentum into the ABA season. Not too far away at this point. We're just about at the end of July. ABA season is in October. So that is coming up not too far from now. And here's a picture from one of our owners, Corey, aka Frosty, who's the head coach last year. But you could see there in that middle is that championship belt. We did have that. We mentioned the championship belt was a part of the Super Cup championship. So we do have that championship belt that you see there. And I could have cropped it a little bit better, I guess. But I just wanted to point out he does have that. He's got a up above his fan controlled signed ball. Both him and I were MVFs in that inaugural season VU 1.0 in the FCF. And one of the things that the MVFs did get was, or it looks like he's got two, but one of the things was supposed to be a signed ball from the team owners. And then I do see back there, he's got that vinyl. That vinyl was actually part of that package as well. So I know I'll have to see where that is. I don't even remember where mine is. But the signed ball, I wanted to point that out because I remember it's supposed to be signed by the team owners. So I was the Beast MVF, and the Beast owners at that point were Marshawn Lynch, Miro, and Renee Montgomery. Um, and I never wound up getting a signed ball from any of those people. I did get a signed jersey though, from some players, not necessarily Beast players. They just kind of like gave me a signed jersey instead. But it looks like he's got a signed ball from at least it looks like Glacier Boys players and possibly owners. So that's pretty cool. I wish the Beast owners would have been as involved on that as well. But anyways, that's beside the point. I saw that picture and it brought back some memories. But the Gold Cup and the Super Cup championship belt you see right there in the center. So we do have some kind of decorations when it comes to our championship trophies, and hopefully we continue to grow that. So the big news for this past week was we had our tryouts at our new home venue. Reminder: we moved from Clinton, Indiana, to Fishers, Indiana. That's our new hometown is Fishers, Indiana. Again, thank you to Clinton for everything they did in our inaugural season. We really wouldn't be where we're at if we weren't in Clinton in that first season. But we do look to continue to grow in Fishers, and our new home venue is Best Choice Fieldhouse. So this is our first time getting a chance to get some work on this court, and this is our first time also experimenting with the streaming, recording, all that type of stuff. So that gave us some more experience with that, and then obviously an idea how to prepare when we come to this upcoming ABA season. I know we had mentioned we were going to be recording this and putting it up for our fan voter or higher tier. Reminder, that's the $10 or higher tier over on our Patreon. So anybody on that would be able to get access to that once we do get that uploaded. I think we forgot to bring the AI camera, so I think it was our old school camera that we recorded that on. And once we get some editing done, I think we should have that up at some point. But you got your little scroll bar down here. If you're watching now, you're probably over on the Patreon already. But if not, if you're watching this and you're not part of the Patreon, right down there, you can go to patreon.com/Apex Athletic Collective and sign up today to become a member of our Patreon. Again, this stream and some of our upcoming votes, they're going to be exclusive to that fan voter or higher tier. So that $10 or higher tier, again, that's that fan voter mark. So if you're part of that fan voter, you already got a chance to submit player evaluations throughout the offseason, have an input on who we bring back for this upcoming ABA season. And I think we're going to have some more votes for you guys coming up shortly. But I believe that's who we're going to be limiting our tryout videos to. So that way there's kind of the exclusive access on that aspect, but then also it kind of limits it so that way it's not just there for public knowledge as well, if other teams did want to use it for scouting information. So obviously they'll be able to watch our games and such, but that is, the tryouts a little bit more of an intensive player breakdown type of thing. So that is our plan, at least as far as I'm aware. Um, and I didn't get a chance, obviously, to go out to the tryouts. I would like to make it to a tryout at some point, but I believe we had, most of our guys that were returning players or already announced players were there, as well as some of our owners and obviously our new head coach, Coach Dobbs. And the crazy thing about this tryout is, let's jump to that. That's the big news. I think we still got that graphic here. We had record-breaking attendance for this tryout. So the official number was over 20. That's by far our highest when it comes to attendance at tryouts. I think the official number was 24, if I'm not mistaken, but I do know for sure it was over 20. So definitely, that's a very high number. Compared to where we were a year ago, that first season when we were trying to build that roster to the point where we're at now, um, is pretty crazy to think about. And obviously, it seems we're going down that right path and continuing to improve. But 20 plus players for that tryout, as an owner, that's really impressive to see. Hoping we can continue to improve upon that. And obviously, as fans, I think that's a great um, thing to see for you as well, because if we have more players attending these tryouts, obviously our skill level is going to continue to get higher and higher. Anytime the player pool continues to expand, it opens up the door for an even higher ability from some of these players, because not only do we have access to more players, but we have more players now fighting for a limited number of roster spots. So players are really going to have to make sure they show out with their best to make the roster. Again, we only have, I believe, there's 12 spots on an ABA roster, and then the 13th spot for a celebrity, and we had double that just at this tryout. So obviously, we're going to have to cut more than 50% of the tryout. Um, and then we're also going to have to look at some of these guys who had those extended looks in the Gold Cup. So we had guys that were on our team for the Gold Cup, but not officially signed yet. Some guys like Jackson Stone. He's been a great player in that Gold Cup. He's also been a player that was a starter for the Lions. One of the best teams, at least in the recent history for the ABA. We've got guys like Rico Spikes, Tyree. There's a bunch of guys that we had on the team that got extended looks in that Gold Cup play, and they're going to have to continue to fight for that roster spot because, we have so many players in that potential player pool as it continues to grow. So, and then obviously, we got guys that we would like to get back from last year, and potentially have not signed yet. So there's also that aspect too. I know we've officially announced some of those players. So the players that we have officially announced, those are on our ABA roster currently. But even with that being said, um, I wasn't at this trial, so I don't know exactly how many players stood out. What I do know though is I got a little bit of information passed along in regards to who showed up for the tryout. So I do know, like I said, over 20 players showed out for the tryout. Um, but we also had a very talented pool. Looking at my notes right here, we had multiple guys from the TBL. Again, remember that TBL is kind of like a higher league when it comes to where the leagues rank within the order. Um, Obviously, we got the NBA, the G League, and such underneath. Leagues underneath would include the TBL, the ABA, but the TBL typically does pay a little bit higher. So typically, it's looked at as a higher league in regards to that. We had guys from overseas. We even had guys, or at least one guy, it looks like, from a WNBA practice squad show up. So just an idea of the amount of talent that we have potentially at our disposal at this tryout alone, and then we have players that, like I said, that we've had on the team and continue to grow that roster. So really, um, it's going to be a pretty intense, I think, cut here when it comes down to the wire, because we have such a talented pool of players that we have from last season, from the first tryout, from this tryout, and we're gonna trim it down to 12 players. There's a potential we may even have to open up like a practice squad. Have guys in rotation. That way, if injuries, or we need another player, um, we would have access to that. So a potential. I'm not saying 100% that's going to happen, but that is a potential we possibly would be looking at. um, but pretty crazy to see. And obviously, if we've got 24 people, 20 plus players showing up for the tryout, I think that Fisher's area is definitely a good move for us. It seems to be drawing a good amount of talent out from that area. But I look forward to that. I wasn't there. I haven't seen the tryout yet. Once we do get that up, I will be watching that. But as of right now, I mean, that's what I know, and from just the what I've heard and the numbers, and obviously these graphics, it seems like we are definitely on pace to continue to improve going into that second ABA season. Um, but that'll be fun to see. I'm also looking forward to seeing how the cameras work in that new home venue, the Best Choice Fieldhouse. Um, and continue to work on that. And just a couple of months now, a few months away, we'll be having our ABA games streamed live from there. And a reminder, we do have season ticket packages available over on our website, www.apexofsports.com. And we do have our tickets over there, and you can get season ticket packages for under $100. That includes all 10 home games, so less than $10 per game. Pretty crazy to think that you can go to a professional sporting event for less than $10 per event. But that's a great value. You can go ahead and get your tickets now over on our website. And the other thing we got coming up, probably tomorrow. I do know we are potentially looking at postponing this, or at least canceling the one for tomorrow, depending on how many people we have signed up. I'm not sure we're going to be continuing to do this, at least for the scheduled time for tomorrow. Um, Again, I'm not on site for that. So I believe, at least at this point, just a little heads up, we may not be doing that for anybody that's interested. But if you are, you can contact us and sign up. And if we do cancel it, you'll get notifications that it is postponed. We got a new entry there. You see that? We got one new entry for the short contest there. So reminder, we were doing a short contest for our new basketball shorts for the official Hoosier State Instigators uniform. We had done the uniform vote last season when it came to our um, jersey, and then we did that jersey vote. It was pretty cool to have like a little bracket going on with that, and then we had the jersey that we wound up winning, but we had like a little bracket, almost March Madness style type thing. So that was a fun vote we had going on, and we're hoping to do the same type of thing here with the shorts. Obviously, we don't have quite as many options here, but I do see a new one there over on the far left. Um, and we've got those other three for that we've seen in the past, and that new one, if you take a look there, it's got some gator print, a red background, and then it does have the ABA stripes on the top. I'm a huge fan of that. And it does have kind of a gator claw mark or kind of scratches on the sides of the shorts. So pretty unique design. I think it's a pretty well designed basketball short. And I know the one thing we've been pointing out is that the middle option there, again, all the other three options are designed by some of the owners. And the middle option was the one we keep saying does at least relate or tie in some of those colorways and design elements of the official jersey. I will say, I think that this one, the new one, does also include some of those elements. Maybe not as much as that middle one, but I think the scratches, claw marks, that type of thing on the side does at least incorporate the same color concept. And then we do have that red like block logo for that as well. But that I think that ties in a little bit better than some of those other ones. I mean, the other ones, we've got the uh, yeah. So we got the block logo is that color, so that would fit um, into that. And that would be the background there. And then because that is for the black shorts, it would be inverted for the white shorts, and the gator print would turn white. But we do have again the middle option there, and then we have the options there on the right with the pinstripes, and the other one with a gator type of print on that as well. But the background or the color on that one is that red color, and that bottom one with the pinstripes has red and yellow on the pinstripes. Again, we're going to leave it open to fans, and we'll see how the fans vote when it gets to it. I think we are going to, again, limit that to fan voters once we do get that going live with the fan vote. And some other news in fashion, we can say. I'm going to jump over and share my screen. Over on our website, we did make some new additions. If you have not seen those already, let's jump over there. Got a couple of new products, and you can probably see it here. So a couple of new products right here. Got our new official shirts for some of our guys. Got Hollywood, he's got that shirt here that we've seen. Again, remember that was that shirt that I had over, during the All-Star weekend. So now you can go and get your own one. Again, that is the Hollywood AB shirt. That is now up on our website. You can go ahead and order that. And we also got one more player shirt up. And this one is our team captain, Chuck Bloom. He has a t-shirt up for sale now too. And it looks like we got it in a couple different colorways, but you got the team captain Chuck Bloom t-shirt as well. So we're working on designing those for every player, but you do have that up on the site now. So you do have an option to get some more of the player merchandise. I'm continuing to work on all of the players. Hopefully, we can get one for every player on the team and get those up and posted. That way, you guys can represent your favorite players and the Hoosier State Instigators. And the other thing about that is, I highly recommend you go ahead and order yourself one of those new shirts, especially today, because today is Chuck's birthday. So go ahead and order your official team captain Chuck Bloom t-shirt today for his birthday. So happy birthday, Chuck. We could glad to have him continuing to be a part of the team. And now he's got this awesome new T-shirt. So go ahead and grab your Chuck Bloom T-shirt today over on our website again, www.apexofsports.com. You go on the shop and you can go and grab your Chuck Bloom shirt. We also have the AB shirts up now as well. But yeah, so happy birthday to Chuck. Go ahead and support him and get that official Chuck Bloom t-shirt. And while we're at it, there's another thing you can go ahead and do if it relates. We'll go back and share the screen one more time. So over on our website again, let's jump back on there. Reminder, we do have sponsorships available. So with those sponsorships, you see here we've got this graphic here, a little flyer. If you want to become an official partner of the Hoosier State Instigators, or if you know anybody that may be interested, you can definitely send them this information. You can go on our website again, the Apex. It's www.apexofsports.com, and this specific page, you'll add a /sponsors and it'll get you right to that page. But you can have the opportunity here to become an official partner of the Instigators. Not only can you become an official partner of the Instigators, we also have player sponsorship opportunities. So if anybody wanted to sponsor one of our players, the players get a bonus. You see there, $100 game bonus for that sponsorship. You also get all of these awesome benefits of being a player sponsor. You get the player meet and greet, tickets to games, social media shout outs, pictures with the player, graphics on, or your logo on the graphics that we make with the players. And there's many other things. If you're interested, you can send us an email, that email at the bottom, or reach us by phone at that phone number. There are also many other opportunities out there. If those don't fall directly into the category of what we're looking for, definitely let us know and we can custom tailor something to fit into what we're looking for. But just a reminder, we've got those open. If you're interested, if anybody out there is watching and is a business and is potentially thinking about possibly doing a sponsorship, definitely feel free to reach out to us. And if you know anybody that you think may be interested, you could send them our information, send them this link or flyer on the website, or you can send us their information as well. But that is just another shout out there, something we are continuing to work upon during the off season, and that way once we get going into the regular season, once we get to October, we'll have everything kind of squared away. But we had amazing partners last season. We had SDMC, we had the Adventure Beer Company, we had the partnership with Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment, Diamond House International, um, and I hope I'm not forgetting anyone else, but I think those were the ones that I remember off the top of my head. Um, and I think I said Diamond House, but yeah. So we did have those as some of our partners throughout that inaugural season, and we continue to look to grow upon that. But anyways, happy birthday to Chuck Bloom. Pretty cool T-shirts you can get over in the store now. Continuing to work on some more of those player design T-shirts, and go ahead and get your Chuck Bloom shirt today. It is his birthday. Wish him happy birthday, and get yourself one of those T-shirts. And I think that does it for pretty much all of our instigator type news. I will do the shout out here again because this is just a pretty cool thing. The game's obviously still really popular, continuing to grow in popularity. If you are playing the new college football game, go ahead and check out this custom instigator team, designed by our guy 2Z Designs, the creator himself of the Hoosier State Instigators logo. So definitely shout out to him. He's an amazing job. Does an amazing job when it comes to all his designs. And you can go ahead and get yourself the Instigators as a custom team in the new college football game. You can search Instigator and it will be under that creator name, Velocity X74. But it's pretty cool. You see there's some screenshots of the game, and it got the Instigators logo. You can have the Hoosier State Instigators as your team as you build a dynasty in the new college football game. And there's some pretty cool features. I have seen other people have also been working on, um, as well as 2Z has been working on creating some of those FCF teams as well. Obviously, myself and some of our other owners come from that side. I think King Ka is also working on some of those FCF team designs. So you can also look up those. I know I did see he made the board apes. So shout out to him as well. King Ka is another great dude, and if you want, go ahead and check out his stuff on that game. But obviously, this is the Instigators related one, so I've got it here up on a graphic for everyone to check out. But go ahead and enjoy your weekend. Play some of that college football, and get yourself the Instigators in that game. Um, but we also got Olympic basketball. Olympics just started as well, so definitely a lot of stuff going on. But I think that pretty much does it for tonight's episode. Again, we had record-breaking attendance for that tryout this past weekend. We're continuing to grow. And I think that move to Fishers in the Best Choice Fieldhouse really seems to be working out well so far. Hopefully, it continues to work, and we continue to see improvement in our second season in the ABA. But we've got a lot of player you know on the cutting block now, so a little bit stressful, I guess, when it comes to that situation, especially for players. Um, but definitely opens up the talent pool a lot more. So it'll be a fun season coming up, and we'll continue to keep everyone updated here throughout the off season, and then once we get into that regular season, we'll be ramped up with a bunch of information when it comes to the Hoosier State Instigators, and obviously we're going to be starting to announce more signings too once we get to that chopping block of who we decide to wind up keeping. A little news is I may not be able to host next week. So if I don't host next week, I'll see you in 2 weeks. If I do wind up coming next week, I'll see you then. But I think I may not be able to host next week. So if not, enjoy the guest host. But that will do it for tonight's episode 54 of Instigate Success, the official podcast of the Hoosier State Instigators. Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise. Until next time, as always, be great and instigate.